Touching story presents. Homeowner association tried to take my farm. They forgot who manages their water. When I discovered that my homeowner association had secretly sold 1,700 acres of my family's farmland, I knew I had to fight back. But instead of just going to court, I decided to remind them of one important fact. I control their water supply. The homeowner association's first move. The morning was ideal for planting. Clear skies and a light wind. I was on my tractor before sunrise. Just like my grandfather had taught me, that's when my phone wouldn't stop ringing. When I finally checked my messages, I nearly choked on my meal. 10 missed calls from neighbors, 3 voicemails from my cousin, 1 email from the homeowner association. Subject line violation notice. I opened it. They claimed my tractor noise violated their peaceful comfort, and that my chicken coops created offensive odors that affected property values. They gave me 48 hours to shut down all farming operations, or face a $200 per day fine. I laughed out loud. They had no authority over my land. The homeowner association president shows up the next morning. I was greeted by the sound of a car door closing. A woman in a crisp white pantsuit strode across my front yard, clipboard in hand, flanked by 2 homeowner association board members. "Miss Walker," she called. "I'm Deborah Williams, president of Oak Ridge Estates Homeowner Association. We need to discuss your violations." I crossed my arms. "There's nothing to discuss. Your homeowner association has no control over my land." Deborah smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, according to the county zoning board, your agricultural exception expired last year. That means your land is now subject to homeowner association regulations." That caught me off guard. My property tax bills hadn't changed. "My family has farmed this land for over 100 years. I said. "No homeowner association can suddenly claim authority over it." Her smile turned cold. "Times change, Miss Walker. We have rules now." She handed me a stop and assist order, then they walked away. But I wasn't about to back down. Something was off. I called my cousin Tom, who lived in Oak Ridge Estates and served on the town council. "They've been planning this for months," he warned. "Deborah's been having private meetings with developers. She's changing meeting minutes after they agree." That night, I did some digging through county records, and that's when I found it. My agricultural exemption was still valid for another 5 years. Deborah had deceived. For the next week, I ignored their letters and fines. Then came the noise complaints to the sheriff. "Mike, look," said Sheriff Davis, an old high school friend. "I know this is nonsense, but they're filing complaints every single day. They've even started a petition to classify your farm as a public disturbance." "Dave," I said, "my family has been providing this county for generations. What's really going on?" He hesitated. "I shouldn't tell you this, but the homeowner association is pushing for a massive development project, and it includes your land." That's when I saw them. Strangers in suits, walking my eastern fields, taking pictures and records. I jumped in my truck and drove straight toward them. The unexpected discovery. "Can I help you?" I called out. "You're trespassing." A tall man in a designer suit turned. "I'm James Miller with Westview Development Corporation. We're inspecting the land for planning purposes." I frowned. "Planning? For what?" "This is my farm." Miller looked puzzled. "According to our paperwork, Westview purchased 1,700 acres from Oak Ridge Estates 3 weeks ago. Construction starts next month." My heart stopped. "That's impossible. I never sold my land." He showed me official documents, survey maps with county stamps and a signature that looked exactly like mine. But I never signed anything. I rushed home and pulled out my property deeds from the safe. Everything looked fine, but something wasn't right. I called the county recorder's office. "Sir, there's an ownership change filing from 6 weeks ago." The clerk said, "According to our records, 1,700 acres were transferred to Oak Ridge Estates Community Trust. You only own 300 acres now?" My hands trembled. "That's impossible. I never signed any transfer." "Sir, the documents have your signature. Do you want me to email you copies?" When I opened The file. I stared at my own fake signature. That's when I saw her. Deborah, sitting in her luxury SUV, parked at the edge of my property, watching me. When she saw me looking, she grinned and waved. I had less than a month before bulldozers arrived. And that's when I remembered one very crucial thing. Who controls their water supply? The water rights play. My grandfather had signed an agreement in 1943 allowing the county to build a reservoir on our land, one that supplied water to the entire area, including Oak Ridge Estates. But there was a condition. Agricultural use takes priority. I still own the main water control valve. I made 3 calls. My lawyer, the local newspaper, the state water authority. 2 days later, Ridge Estates woke up with no running water. Deborah called me 17 times before I answered. What did you do? She yelled. I calmly buttered my toast. Nothing illegal. I just prioritized my farm's water supply as per the original agreement. By that evening, the homeowner association was in chaos. Developers threatened to sue, homeowners rebelled, and the county opened an investigation into deception. A week later, the judge ruled in my favor. I got my land back. Deborah removed from the homeowner association. The developers gone, and Oak Ridge Estates permanently changed their bylaws to protect local farms. Justice prevailed. That night, as I walked my land, I realized they tried to steal my farm, but instead, they reminded an entire neighborhood why it mattered. The aftermath. Homeowner Association's revenge attempt. After Deborah's downfall and the court ruling in my favor, I thought the battle was over. I was wrong. The Homeowner Association, desperate to regain control, started plotting new ways to target me, but what they didn't realize, I was always one step ahead. The Homeowner Association's new strategy. With Deborah gone, the new Homeowner Association president, Mark Simmons, decided to continue her mission. He wasn't as careless as Deborah. He was calculating. First, they tried to restrict access to my property. The Homeowner Association petitioned the county to reclassify my farm access road as a private street, claiming it was unsafe for residential traffic. I got wind of this plan through my cousin Tom, who still attended Homeowner Association meetings. Mark thinks if he controls your access road, he can make your farm useless, Tom warned. Mark had no idea who he was dealing with. How I shut it down. I drove straight to the county zoning office and showed them the original land records. My farm's right-of-way agreement had been in place for over 70 years. The county official looked up and laughed. They can petition all they want, he said. Your access road is legally protected. We'll dismiss this immediately. That was strike one for the Homeowner Association. Their next move, false environmental complaints. When the road trick didn't work, the Homeowner Association got cunning. They started flooding the county environmental department with complaints about my farm, unregulated pesticide use, illegal waste disposal, livestock creating health hazards. I knew exactly what they were doing, so I made one phone call to State Agricultural Inspector Lisa Moreno, a close family friend. She showed up the next morning, clipboard in hand. After a thorough inspection, she filed her report. The Walker farm is in full compliance with all state agricultural laws. 0 violations. Then she personally called the Homeowner Association and told them that filing false environmental reports could lead to criminal charges. That was strike two. The Homeowner Association tries a final power move. Realizing they were running out of options, the Homeowner Association tried one last trick. They sent a cease and desist letter claiming my farm activities were damaging community appearance and violating a newly created Homeowner Association rule about unattractive properties. I chuckled. They really thought I was going to fold. How I took them down for good. Instead of just ignoring the letter, I escalated. I filed a lawsuit against the Homeowner Association for harassment and unlawful interference with my business. I exposed their history of deception to local media, ensuring public pressure was on my side. I requested a formal state audit of the Homeowner Association's finances, knowing full well they had mishandled funds. Within a month, the Homeowner Association board was in chaos. Mark resigned under stress. The county permanently barred the homeowner association from interfering with agricultural properties. And the final nail in the coffin, the state audit found $50,000 in misused homeowner association funds, and the remaining board members were held personally responsible. The homeowner association was eliminated entirely within 6 months. The sweet taste of victory as I stood on my farm watching the last Oak Ridge Estates homeowner association sign being taken down. I knew I had won. They tried everything to take me down, but in the end, they ruined themselves. Thank you for watching. Touching story. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, spread, and subscribe for more powerful tales of strength and justice. See you in the next one.